order to fund the government's intervention. And I believe the government should stop trying to get involved in its economy. On its own, the economy is fine. In fact, I think with the government interfering, we get poorer. All right? Through the invisible hand of the market, this economy does a way better job of finding wealth. And therefore, this intervention through the raising of taxes will actually weaken economies instead of making them the strong concept that we need. See, by buying and selling products, the firm hopes to make money. And if they're effective in meeting the needs of the customers, they enjoy the financial rewards. So they have to engage the people who want the products that they want. And this system will benefit the consumers who are enjoying the products they want and creates wealth, not just for the firm, but for the nation as a whole. Because the nations fill the citizens working productively to make themselves better and meet the financial needs. But with the government, if they interfere, and they take some away that services, and they take some away that product, we're not going to get richer. We're going to get poorer.
That's all well and good, but I believe that an increase in taxes is a good thing, as it shows government involvement in the economy. Government is the sole entity that can enact complete control over production and business. But they also have access to almost infinite resources and will be able to start up any business they deem necessary or they see will produce more jobs. Their involvement can also reduce the risk of any sort of uprising of the middle class, as governmental agencies such as Statistics Canada can gain information about these individuals in the economy and adhere to their needs.
You say that the government will have control with taxes and that their involvement creates stability in the economy and the nation. But that's not true, because I think that with government intervention, there'll be a lack of competition. Because there will no longer be a need for businesses to compete with each other, so then businesses will try to band together and try to extract favors from the government. Everyone would suffer because they will all cooperate and form a monopoly. This will increase the price and decrease equality because there's no one to oppose them. This makes the rich richer and the poor stay poor, which is exactly what you fight against for. But with government intervention, this will happen.
Okay, so on one hand, I believe that you do have a point, Smith, but Carl actually does have a greater point than you. He believes in government involvement, and I feel like that's a better way for our economy to succeed.
Well, if this taxes thing falls through, I have an opinion. I have 4 maxims on how taxes should work. Alright? First of all, I believe that the wealthiest benefit most from the government, and therefore they're the ones that can afford to pay. The rich should contribute more to the public expense, not only in proportion to the revenue, but something greater than proportion. I think corporations should have to contribute to the government involvement as well and take some of the responsibilities. And as long as there's progressive taxation, so then that way taxes will affect corporate firms more than the middle class because the big corporate firms can afford to take a hit while the middle class cannot. My second one is that the tax should be straightforward and clear. And this is just a percentage on sales tax, if I'm not mistaken. So that follows my maxim. And that's the only part of the tax I agree with. The third is that every tax should be most convenient for a contributor to pay it. While this is convenient for corporates to pay it, it's not convenient for the middle class or poorer class because they can't afford to lose this much money. And so this raising of the taxes goes against my third maxim. My fourth tax is efficiency. There needs to be a reason why we have to raise this tax. Because the tax needs to take out and keep out of the pockets of the people as little as possible and make sure that the public treasury and the state is in a state of well-being. And if this does not follow through, there's no point in raising these taxes. It's just dumb. And so far, I don't see any efficiency. Raising the taxes will screw over the middle class and will take money out of the people's pocket, puts it into the government. I don't even know what the government's going to do with that money. I mean, look at us. Our economy is in disarray. I don't see how giving them more money will help us get out of it.
Well, I do agree with you, Smith, on the maxims of taxes, but I also fully believe that there should be another maxim that's added to the taxes, which is it should be solely focused on labor and the working class families and the working class on the labor. As a part of my theory of distributions, profits vary inversely with wages, which rise or fall in line with the cost of necessities. And also, as rent increases, so does population because of the higher cost of cultivating more food for the larger population. and there's little tendency to unemployment. However, rapid population could depress the wages, which would thereby limit both profits and capital formation by extending the margin of cultivation. So, in other words, the increase in taxes would help people and their wages and even create a better wage for the working class.
Yeah, but you say you agree with my maxim. But remember the fourth maxim, efficiency. I believe that by bringing taxes, the tax should ideally have a minimum distortion or impact on the economy, because these extortions might obstruct the industry of the people, and that's the labor you value. But I don't see this tax being that efficient. In fact, I think it will just disrupt the economy, which goes against my maxim, and it goes against your idea of putting the labor first.
Well, you say that the taxes won't help with the wages in general, according to your efficiency maxim. But I even created my own branch of socialism, which was named after me, and it is the theory that states that labor is the source of all wealth and exchange value. And the Ricardian socialists would reason that labor is entitled to all its produces, and that rent, profit, interest were not natural outgrowths of the free market process, but were instead distortions. So they argue that private ownership of means of production should only be supplanted by cooperatives owned by association of workers. So let me give you an example. Let's say a worker was working at a factory and was working minimum wage, which is currently around $11. I don't know. I think I lost. I don't know exactly because I lost track after 2002. But anyway, yeah. This worker is taking $10 worth of material and processing with the help of machines to $150 worth of materials, which the company is then able to sell after. So currently, the company is making $140 worth of profit per piece, and let's say the worker makes around 100 pieces a day, which would come up to $14,000 worth of profit a day, and this profit is not anywhere close to which the minimum wage is being reflected on the worker.
Yeah, but employers will have to pay for those expenses on top of this new tax. And this new tax is once again an economic distortion. And by obstructing the industry of business people, it will hereby prevent them from giving employment to great multitudes of the labor of the people. So to me, the most efficient tax would leave the annual produce of the land and labor of society, the real wealth and revenue of the nation, the same as before. But obviously the sales tax is not doing that. So the business people suffers, the industry suffers because these business people can't afford it, and this is not what I deem the most ideal efficient tax, because the efficient tax should leave the wealth of the nation the same or even better.
Even if you account for the owner's expenses or the company's expenses, they still have lots of leeway according to their profits to increase their employees' wages. So I'm not saying that they necessarily have to give all their money away to the employees. They just have to make an honest wage for the employees.
All this corporate hoo-ha is well and good, but who runs the show? Or, well, not who runs the show, but who's the driving force behind the show? Is the little guys, the workers. Now, I can understand that in the short run, an increase in taxes may be perceived as a bad thing, but look at the bigger picture. Government uses those tax dollars as its revenue, its spending budget. Government will use that money to bring about new things and bring about change that will be for the better. Also, only the provincial portion of the HST is being increased, which means that the provincial government is getting more money to spend on welfare and their parks and services and healthcare and all of that. A friend of mine also, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., said that taxes are the price we pay for civilization. Citizens of any country want and deserve certain standards that only government can implement. But government cannot implement those services without money, and they get most of that money from taxation. So an increase in taxes should be a good thing.
So I agree with what you're saying, Marx, but I feel that the minorities and the small workers don't have a chance or are not able to pay these taxes. Like the large employers, they're able to, but the workers will fall behind in paying these taxes. So I feel we should find a way where we could only charge the large corporations or corporations in general and the rich people.
I agree with you with what you're saying about the richer people should be taxed more and the poorer people should be taxed less. That's a progressive tax, and that's a good thing because there is an unequal distribution of wealth that is existing right now, and that unequal distribution needs to be stabilized. It is also commonly known that money begets power and power begets more money. And well, I believe that taxes provide a counterbalance by softening the disparities between wealth, power, and benefits. They allow the marketplace to work as they maintain a regulated business environment to protect property rights, enforce fair practices, and protect consumers and investors. However, where you're saying that if there is an increase in tax, the middle people would feel that they have less money in their bank accounts, it's kind of counterintuitive if you think about it more in depth. Because the people are giving a portion of their income to the government in taxes, but they're getting so much more back in services that they would never be able to afford if the government was not providing it for free. So people would have a higher sense of utility that they're getting these services back, and an increase in taxes sort of saves up for the future. Because I'll give you some statistics from Statistics Canada. Since 2013, employment in agriculture has dropped by 1,600 people and 300 in manufacturing. And in 2014, employment has stagnated in the utilities industry. Also, in education, there has been a decrease of 2,500 people and 1,800 people in public administration in 1 year, in 2015. That is all in Newfoundland and Labrador. And these people who are out of their jobs, they need money to sort of cover the transition period when they can find a new job. And those taxes and the employment insurance that they were paying for brings money back into their pockets so that they have sort of a safety net that they can fall back on until they get back on their feet.
Overall, taxes allow citizens, residents, and businesses to do things together that we can never do on our own. And in other words, taxes allow Canadians to live their life and be Canadians.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But we should also increase the minimum wage to compensate for those workers that are getting hit by this tax increase.
But you're full of crap, alright? I think the economy is fine without this government intervention of minimum wage, alright? Businesses and firms in the market can run through their own self-interest because they need to make money. And how do they make money? They need employees. But how do they attract employees? By having a fair wage. If they don't have an unfair wage, how are they going to get the employees they need to make money? So therefore, the whole economy and the marketplace can run through its own self-interest, through the invisible hand.
Okay, you're always on about your invisible hand and the people's choices driving the economy and driving what should be produced, how it should be produced, and how much should be produced, and what the price should be. But tell me this: if people don't have money, how on earth are they going to purchase your stuff that you value so much, and how is the economy going to grow from there? And how are people, or how is new innovation going to come about? Because people need money to buy stuff. That's the law.
Yeah, which is why their own self-interest will have the foreseeable thought to make it affordable or to give the employment the wages, so that way the money goes back into the economy and circulate back to them. You know what, you donkey? You always listen to my invisible hand theory. Well, it's time I show you a real hand.
Stop. All we need to do is increase the wages.
You're
No
an
one cares
idiot.
about the wages. We need to increase the taxes.
Get out of here. No one cares about you. No one likes you and your stupid theories.
No one cares.
Me, Adam Smith, to enjoy my daily newspaper readings. What? They raised the taxes? What is this? And then I